So yeah, during the Democratic debate, I mean, whenever she showed any kind of power or authority in her discussion, in her part of the debate, and when she disagreed with them, when she would talk, they wouldn't take her seriously. They would kind of all look at each other and be like, oh, roll their eyes, start laughing. Like, I saw Obama do that a few times. And it just kind of turned me off a little bit because they were totally making a mockery out of her. Because whenever a woman takes charge, whenever she shows any kind of strong leadership, what do we think? We think she's being a power-hungry bitch. We think that she must be on her period, you know, or we call her the nagging wife, you know. It's like, it's completely sexist. It's completely blatant sexist. And it's not unintentional. It's completely blatant. And
Or they think it's a joke.
Like, they don't take it seriously because it's not them being affected. You know, they know that men have always been on the hierarchy, on the scale, when it comes to status.
And if a woman tries to even come close to that, then they'll do anything in their power to knock her down.
To bring her down. That's exactly what they did. And I think that's what they were making us, with their actions and what we were hearing on the media and everything, what they were doing was they were putting doubt in our minds that we can't put faith into this woman. We can't have faith that she will be a good president for us. We're just not ready for a woman president. That's what they were trying to tell us.
Well, it's not just that. Look at what we did to Sarah Palin. Personally, I don't like the woman, but the aftermath of the whole presidential election, she wasn't even running for president. She was running for the vice presidency, and the majority of her press was on her wardrobe.
They spent, the Republican Party spent over $100,000 just to change her wardrobe.
And she stayed in the press because they were going to court on who actually got the clothes.
And that's how they want, that's how they want to perceive women. They put them,
they're like
objects.
Puppets. Like they're
they treat them, up our little doll.
They treated her like a puppet, like a doll. Like, oh, let's dress her up. You know, we have to make sure that she's fitting the way that we want her to look. And that is completely sexist because did they do that for McCain? No.
But then again, McCain already dressed the part.
Yeah. Because men are fine the way they are. That's what it's telling us, is that men are fine the way that they are. It's women that we have to fix to make them to fulfill and to be that appropriate, that image that we want them to be. And that's unintentional sexism. Making the woman have to change who she has to be and not doing it for the man also. And the whole, her running for vice president and John McCain being the head, running the president, that goes back to, that's just the way it's always been. Men are supposed to lead and women are supposed to follow. She's supposed to follow him through the whole campaign. I mean, of course, the Conservative Party would never break the norm or break the status quo of it being reversed, where the woman is actually running for president and then having a man as a vice president. I would never expect the Conservative Party to break the status quo.
So if Hillary was a man, this would have been completely different. Everything would have been completely
If Hillary Clinton was a man, a white man, I really think that the election, we would probably have a white president, to be honest with you, honestly. There was a lot of sexism, and there was even racism. I'm not going to leave out that there wasn't any racism. There was racism. And if you look at the chain of events, because now we do have a black president. Well, if you look at the chain of events, men have always been in control. And what are you pointing at?
He had a question.
I'm not paying attention.
I know. Well, I was gonna get his question in a second.
Okay.
That's my job. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So, anyways, if you look at the chain of events, we have a black man president. White men have always been in control of our nation, our society, the way things are being ran. Black men were granted the right to vote in the mid-1800s. It wasn't until the early 1900s where women could vote. I just think it's funny.
Wait, who was first?
The black men were first granted the right to vote. funny that if you look at the chain of events with who's our president, it's the same chain of events.
Is it coincidence?
I don't know.
Thank God.
It's history repeating itself.
Exactly. Black men and women, if you put them together, and to be specific towards this election, black men and a white woman, the black man is going to be held up higher than a white woman. And if you look at the chain of events and look at the way it turns out, that's exactly what we're seeing. It's the same thing.
What's your question?
So do you think that Hillary Clinton was more qualified than Barack Obama? And if you do, then do you think that she didn't win mainly because she's a woman instead of a man?
I think okay, first of all, the only person that's qualified to be a president is the actual president. It is not a job that you qualify for necessarily. It's something where, because you don't know what it's like to be president. If you haven't been president before, you don't know what it's like to be the president. You don't have any experience. Really, technically speaking, no one's really qualified to be president. But who I think could have done it, well, I mean, they're both pretty equal, in my opinion. I mean, I'm happy with either one. But what I'm saying is that they both had different political views. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, why I think one should become our president or why isn't it the way it is, because that's just my personal politics. But the thing of it is, I'm just saying that the media was harder on her. They did. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see any like media attacks on Obama. At least no blatant attacks.
Wait, Obama's Democrat?
Just the religion one. Okay, that's right. The religion one.
Hillary's Republican?
No, she's Democrat.
They're both Democrat?
Yeah, they're both Democrat. Hillary and Obama are both. People will disagree with me on this, but if you actually look at the political compass, they're both pretty centrist Democrats. There's talk that
Isn't Hillary more? I mean, I think Obama is more lenient than Hillary was. I thought
Hillary.
was more
I mean, it's personal politics, but if you actually look at the political compass, Obama was actually, according to the political compass, he got chosen as an authoritarian. He was a authoritarian conservative, but more in the middle. He wasn't like far right or far left. He was more in the middle. And I don't know. I didn't see what the political compass status would be for Hillary. I don't know. But from my observations of her having the views of universal health care and all that stuff, she did sound like she was more towards the left. But anyways, beyond that though, I feel like, referring back to your question, we will never know unless she runs again and becomes our president. We'll never know if she was really qualified to be our president. But the thing of it is, though, is sexism did play a role in her defeat in the election. It did. I'm not saying that it was the only thing, but it was a big part of it, because the people who are independent voters, the people who are uneducated on politics, they are followers of what our media tells them, and our media plays on stereotypes, and our media was playing Hillary Clinton in the most sexist way that they possibly could, at least in my eyes, in my opinion. I think it's individual opinion. People will think differently, but I heard a lot of sexist material on the media, so I'm just putting it out there. So I don't know, but that's what I